Good afternoon to one and all and the panelists. So after delays, lunch, I welcome you all. So like every year we do a research showcase in Triple IT Delhi, and Triple IT Delhi being one of the research based institution, we try to showcase how the various kind of research is being done throughout the year by faculty, by the students and the researchers at the institute. And with this we have started a new way wherein we are bringing the innovation and research into commercialization sector, and we have a new event today and we have some esteemed guests who agreed to be here on this discussion on the forum today. I welcome everybody and I would request each one of these panelists to come here, and first of all I request all the audience to give a loud applause for them. So with this I request Mr. Devdoot Mukherjee to be here. Devdoot is a director in data science at Hike Messenger. Most of us must be knowing about this. So off to you, Devdoot. Yeah.
Good afternoon. How's the lunch today? Okay, so I'll talk about an interesting topic that's been chosen for the panel. Thanks for inviting me. The topic is how do you take research to production, right? And what I'll do is I'll walk through. Is there a point? Yeah, so I'll talk about this process of taking research and making it see the light of the day, right? And the different stages of the process. What are some of the common mistakes that people do? What are watchers that you should watch out for? What are some of the considerations in each of the stages? Okay. Just give me one moment. Okay, great. So, very simply put, these are some of the stages that I'll go through, from idea to actual launch and experiment, and it's an iterative process. So first, start with ideation and alignment, right? So this is the first step. Once you are trying to solve a problem and most of these principles, I'll take some examples from consumer tech startups, but most of the process would generalize to at least technology companies of different shapes and forms. So the first step definitely is ideation, right? And it starts with some kind of a problem, some kind of a customer problem, and finding a solution to it, right? And trying to align the different folks and teams in the company to create a team to be motivated to solve that particular problem, right? So I think the key thing to watch out for here is the customer focus and putting the user first, trying to get a deep understanding of what the problem is before arriving at the solution, right? So, and one of the common themes that we see is people have tendency to, at least young researchers and people who have had a certain background or are passionate about a particular research technique, is they tend to sort of see it like if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? So this is something that at least in industry, at the first step when you think about productionizing your research, you should be worried about. Think very carefully whether the problem at hand that you are trying to solve really demands the solution that you are trying to apply, right? So always put the customer first, try to go deep into the problem and figure out whether the particular technology that you are trying to apply is really needed or is really the best fit to solve that problem. The next one, so once you have, let's say, ideated, found a solution, aligned a team to go ahead and solve it, comes the problem of sketching the user experience and the design of how you will go about shaping the product up, and what kind of design would you be doing in order to get to the next stage, right? So design is sort of the next stage, and here one of the things, again, considerations is that it's all about expectation management, right? So the design that you are doing, and especially when it comes to user experience design, are you managing the expectation well? Because this is one of the things that, again, tends to go wrong, that technical advances tend to inflate expectations very fast, more faster than we can actually fulfill them. And so, in order not to get disappointed, it's very important to set expectations. And I'll take an example over here. Let's say many of you probably are doing image recognition and object detection in images, right? So let's say you're building a product out of it, and which is about image captioning, right? So given an image, you try to come up with a caption. And maybe you see this particular image of a dinosaur, and this is the caption that you give, right? There will be disappointment because clearly you've done a lot of smarts to be able to identify that it's a dinosaur, but then you've gone and totally relying on the algorithm and sort of you've got one part right, but the other part you've done almost like a naive mistake, right? So how can we, so like the technology will only mature at its own pace, right? But can you partner with designers, can you partner with product managers to set expectations so that the user does not go disappointed? And this is the thing that we need to watch out when you're creating a product, like creating the user experience to showcase the technology that you have. Right? So this is probably a better UX, right? So when you can explain the prediction that you have, a dinosaur you can predict with high confidence, but maybe it's on a surfboard, but you are not very confident, right? So it's a more explanatory showcase of your technology, right? And people will be more forgiving if you can design a user experience which is built for more like to make the user more forgiving, right? So all of these are things which are important considerations when you think about user experience, when you think about design. And as technologists, this is some where like people often sort of get overconfident and overboard with the technology that they have and trying to 100% automate, but that leads to disappointment. A better approach often is that you partner with designers, you partner with UX researchers to be able to figure out what could be forgiving user experiences in your application. This is another sort of example towards the same end. Alexa launched, and you can do a lot of things with Alexa, and it turns out that it also sort of kids take out Alexa and order unwanted merchandise, right? So this is about figuring out what could be corner cases, what could be potential uh, unintended impact of the technology that you are trying to productize, right? Again, figuring out what all impact can your technology have, and put the guardrails in your user experience design to be able to manage that disappointment. Okay, so the next step is on productionization, right? And this is again another point where researchers or young engineers would need to reach out to a lot of help within the company so that whatever technology they're trying to productize is contained in the right form to be able to set it up for success, right? And any technology, these are different considerations, some of which you'll have under, like answers to, some of which you will need to figure out answers as you take it towards productionization. Right, so one of the key things in productionizing and when you actually come down to execution and figuring out how to actually engineer it, how to deploy it and so on, is the first thing is comes up with how do you define the scope, right? And this is a famous example, many of you would have seen this. This comes, so this talks about how do you build your minimum viable product and how do you define the scope for your minimum viable product. And these could be two approaches. Let's say your goal is to create a car. You can scope out your releases, like you build the tire first, then the chassis, and then the entire car. That often is not a correct approach, right? So what's the core value proposition of a car? It helps people move from point A to point B. That's the core value proposition. And in order to test out that particular hypothesis, if I am able to move people from point A to point B, will that product find value or not? A better approach will be to build a skateboard first, right? And then a cycle, and then probably a car. And here again, as technologists, you often people make mistakes around scoping and around release management, right? So very important when you're thinking about productionizing, the entire technology that you have in mind, in all its grandeur, will take months to be delivered in the right sort of grand form that you want it to get delivered, right? But how do you scope out that process? How do you sort of deliver value and test out and fail early, right? So if the product that is to move people from point A to point B does not have any product market fit, you'll realize that the product is not needed right at the outset when you build a skateboard, right? So it will save you a lot of other things around resources and investments in building that car. Okay, so the last thing is, once you have actually sort of productionized and you're ready for launch, what are some of the things that you do? So you experiment, right? And you experiment like real, like the more number of experiments that you can run, the better you are in increasing your chances of success. Right? So people, again, experimentation is easier said than done, right? So people talk about A/B experiments, test and control groups, launch, seed impact, and roll, right? Often we realize that it's not as easy as that. So when you're talking about experiment and measurement, can you think through about all the different metrics that you have, right? Maybe you're trying to move one metric, but it has a negative impact on yet another metric, right? So let's say you are trying to push some recommendation in your app, but it sort of like you find that people are using it, but then over a period of time, people may not use another feature that you have in the app, right? So a new feature often leads to cannibalization of existing features, right? So you need to always, when you're talking about experimentation, you need to have a target metric at hand, and you need to set goals about how much does a movement in that particular metric lead to success. So you have a success metric in mind, but most importantly, you should also have a defensive metric in mind, right? So if these other metrics sort of move in a negative direction, then you would not call it a success, even though you are able to move your success metric, right? There are other kinds of consideration in experimentation. So let's say you launch like in a social setting, and like Hive is a social network, other social networks. A lot of experimentation is about keeping your test and control groups as pure and as disconnected as possible. In experiments, we often look at that if you launch a particular feature through maybe word of mouth, it reaches other users who are in your control group, right? And they sort of, then at that stage, your test and control group like become polluted. So how do you minimize an interference between test and control groups is another thing that you will watch out for, right? And finally, once you experiment, the important thing is to repeat this loop as often as possible in as short cycles as possible. And if you repeat this loop once, twice, 10 times, you'll probably see that your product is eventually finding the product market fit that you want. Okay, so that's about it. One last slide about Hike and some of the areas that we are working in. We're always looking out for quality talent, so reach out if you're interested. Any questions? I'll take questions at this stage, or I'll move on to the next session. Come back to questions.
Any questions? Thanks, Devu. It was a very nice way you represented the whole cycle. So the way the idea and an idea to production, UX designing and everything is really not an easy task, and that's why we say entrepreneurial journey is not an easy thing. So moving on to the next speaker. So I'm going to invite one of our student of Triple IT Delhi. He is a final year student, Kalash. Kalash is started his company very recently. He has a strong hold in computer designing, graphics, and security. He recently got awarded from Honorable Prime Minister of India. And now I request Kalash to start with his journey and motivation and how he decided not to opt for regular jobs rather than go for his own venture.
Hi guys, so I am Kalash. I am currently a 4th year student at the time Delhi itself. These are great guys. I am a panelist and panelist. They'll all be talking about how a startup works, how to scale a startup. But myself, I have been working in the startup space for the last 3 years. I've worked with different kinds of startups. I started around 3 startups, 2 of which are failed already. So I'll be sharing some experiences, some failures, and what I did that you can also avoid, that you can avoid and take into consideration when you start your own project or take it to a next level, take it for business. So the first thing that I started was a restaurant-based product. It is a POC, it is a kind of POS system for restaurants that incorporates Zomato and Dine Out and other kind of services that provides. But it was in my first year. I started with a senior of mine. So in that, the mistake that I did was we didn't do a proper market research. We were good with technology people. We were very good in what we did, but we didn't do a market research. We developed a complete solution from end to end, and then started doing market research if something like this exists or not. How can we deploy this? How can we get restaurants to accept it? But that doesn't work at all. You have to, when you when you started developing a software, you think how it can be useful for you, or what perception that you have. But none of you might be the actual use case. Might not be the actual users that will use the product. So you have to do some market study, some surveys before actually completing the product itself, and get someone to actually get in the business side of it. Then in my second and third year, I started another company called Festa Vesta. It was a ticketing platform for conferences and events. So we had a very great team. We had people from business side as well. We had people from multiple colleges. But the problem with that was we relied completely on some group of people who thought that they knew their stuff, but they didn't. So this is a very big problem. So when you tie up with people that you think that they know their stuff and they know how to make this done, don't rely completely on them. Don't rely कि उनको पता है वो कर लेंगे सारा काम, and I just need to do my stuff, my part of it. But if you are in a startup, you are in a co-founding team, you are one of the founders, you have to do all kinds of work yourself. You cannot rely completely on one person that will do everything, and you don't need to make a decision of that thing. So after these all learning, I moved to an industry for 6 months. I worked at an MNC for a long time, and I learned that how things work, how people do work, how softwares and products are deployed into the market. And the feeling I got from that was, it's an MNC. It just wants some employees that will work for you for 8 hours a day, right? But if you are young, if you are passionate enough, you can work for more than 12 hours a day, or even 16 hours, if you want. If you believe in something, if you have a passion about something. So why work for someone else for 8 hours a day when you can work for yourself for 14 or 16 hours? So that's my ideology. That's when I realized that I want to do something myself. So coming to real world. This started as a research project for me about 1.5 years back. So I didn't have any idea what should I take it to market or not. So this was just a research project at a very day. So working on this, I spent around 1.5 months working on the product. I uploaded a video on YouTube of this. I had no idea, but this gained a lot of traction in many medical colleges in US and in Brazil. And I started getting mails and calls from them that please sell us this technology and we'll pay you around $5,000. That's when I realized that this kind of stuff is actually the state of the art in this field. I worked a lot on doing some market research, talking to people on what actually happens in this kind of fields and what can be improved. So let's see what I made actually, what I'm working on. So this is the current state of the art that people use. Left side is the 2D CT scans and MRIs. We have all seen these. So people in many parts of the world still use those 2D scans on a lit screen to actually see the differences, see the contrast. Then the diagram, these are hand-drawn diagrams that we all have seen in schools in biology classes and all, and some 3D rendering. So these are very basic rendering, and these are very expensive to do nowadays in all the systems that currently exist because of pipeline issues. Because they are not implemented properly, they are implemented over the top of existing technologies. Okay. So I'm working on solving the state of the art, improving the state of the art. So how? Virtual reality. So virtual reality is what I feel is the future of screens, of any kind of visualization. It's like the computer screen, the LCD and LED screens around 15-20 years back. So how virtual reality works is, in normal screen, everything that you see is 2D in nature. It's completely two-dimensional. And the field of view is just the size of the screen. In a projector and in a movie theater, the field of view is very large, around 90 degrees or 100 degrees. But whenever in our day-to-day lives, it's just a monitor. It's hardly 30 degrees, the complete field of view. And the depth perception. We have our two eyes to actually perceive depth between objects. But we cannot use it in all our day-to-day work. We do most of our work on computers nowadays. Almost all our work on computers nowadays. But we cannot use the basic perception system that God has provided us. The both of our eyes. It's equivalent to using just one of our eye and doing the same work. Because it's the same thing that we are seeing. But with virtual reality, in this domain especially, the forced technology to create a 3D scan, to create a 3D rendering from 2D scans is already done, is already implemented, and it's as in the previous slide. But the thing with that is it's on screen. So to actually visualize what node is behind which board, or the relative location of systems, you have to interact with it, you have to rotate it, you have to go inside it, and other things like that. But in virtual reality, it's nothing. All interaction that you need is moving your head. If you have a headset, VR headset that we use, is as on the right side, the girl is wearing it. The only interaction that you have to do is moving your head from left to right. That's it, left, right, top, bottom. And you can see everything. It's the most natural human interaction that is possible with a system. Right? There's no need of using any kind of mouse or controls. And to me, what I see is this is the future of human-computer interaction. Every kind of concept videos that we will see, from Sixth Sense, from Paranormal Mystery, we all must have known about it. From Sixth Sense to all kinds of concept videos in movies and Iron Man itself, everything is holographic, everything is 3D, it's coming towards us. Right? And this is what we lack in the current technology domain. Plus, the technology to render these kind of scans is volumetric, it's called volumetric rendering. So it's a very big resource we have to do. With the current advancement in GPU processing units, we can do volumetric rendering. It's also an old concept, but we can do this volumetric rendering in real time for VR headsets. So that's what the current research problem is. To do is with complete optimization and fast for both the eyes. And let's see. So the benefits of the current product are, let's say, to learn pathology and anatomy in medical colleges currently, people still use plastic 3D models to show the complete depth image of a structure. But with this thing, you can actually do this dynamically on a mobile phone. The point of technology is you can change the stuff that's on your screen, right? But with physical models, you cannot change it. You have to get a new model to see it. But with a single screen, with a normal VR headset, you can actually change this. And there are some other benefits also. Let's see. So this model is generated from a real CT scan of a human torso, where all the veins are highlighted. And the interaction is this, in this thing is your head and a simple hand controller, where whichever angle you put the hand controller to, it will rotate. There is no need for complex mouse interaction. The current interaction in everyday use for 3D is hold down a control key or alt key, move your mouse, you use your left mouse button or your right mouse button and move around. And still see the stuff on your normal screen. But with this thing, you can actually go inside the stand, you can go out with as minimal interaction as possible, as natural interaction as possible. So yeah, that's from my side. Any questions? Yeah.
How can I actually do this? Like, what's the pipeline? Which I got the need for computer
So the first thing is we have these 2D scans. So So normal CT scan or a MRI machine spits out a lot of scans, around 100 to 100, depending on the scan, depending on the machine. So when these scans are arranged in a specific order, and you reverse engineer the technology in the CT scan machine. How the CT scan machine works is so shows on rays and gets the intensity value that the bound ray gets, right? So if you do that in a computer, if you simulate those rays inside a computer itself, you need the output. You have the output from the CT scan. You just need the input. So you get the 3D model, 3D construction of it by simulating the rays. Okay. So that's basically the technology is called volumetric rendering. And for doing it in VR, this is actually a different thing because for doing it in VR, you have to render both of your eyes separately, and both the images will need to be slightly different in perception. And these cannot be just different by translating the image by normal image processing techniques. You'll have to simulate a new set of rays for different eye, but with a different angle. The angle have to be slightly different and the motion have to be slightly different. Any other questions?
What are these colors signified in the color?
So these colors are mapped to the intensity values from the scans. So the scans are black and white in color. So if we map each color to each grayscale value to a color itself, you can actually map those. You can create a custom transfer function. There's a concept called transfer function in volumetric rendering. You can create a transfer function to visualize different aspects in body. Like in this image itself, the bones are colored in white in color. So white is actually mapped to white. White from the CT, white from black and mapped to white. But value say for the right lung, the blue color. So that's around 0.7. So 0.7 is mapped to blue. So anyway, there's 0.7, that's blue. Yeah, to RGB values. So I'm increasing the range by manual tweaking, and I'm working on automatic also.
So we need high quality VR set for this.
It actually works really good on mobile phones also. You need high quality VR itself for high quality viewing, but it works very good on mobile phones. With
Zooming into some specific area, like they are visualizing through VR. Can you zoom into some specific areas and specific?
So in VR, when you actually see this model, it's like an object in front of you. You can scale the object, you can reduce the size of the object, and somewhere, if you keep it on the ground in VR and you scale it at a huge size, you can actually walk inside it using normal. You can just walk inside. You don't need any kind of controls. I do have a demo ready if you would like to see after.
You told that rendering is done in the real time.
Yeah.
With no delay.
With no delay. It's at 60 FPS on modern GPU.
So it must be connected to Dicom scanner or some machine which is rendering the scan.
No, Dicom machine. So I am passing the Dicom files myself.
Okay. That is already scanned and tagged.
Yeah. So Dicom files are the basic CD scanner in my files, right? So I'm inputting. So the current workflow in this is you have a set of scans. You just drag and drop the scans inside the software. When you generate all this area. So the complete process to generating this around 2-3 seconds.
So now you have to start with what's the future work that you plan to do?
So I'm currently working with several doctors. I'm talking to people to actually improve this product, to actually convert this product to a marketable, a usable feature for them, for doctors and for medical students. And I'm still figuring it out. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalash. I think it was quite motivating and students were quite interested in knowing all the aspects. Be prepared for more questions and interaction with the students. So with this, we'll move on to our next speaker. He has spent around 30 years with Indian and US companies. He is an active investor, mentor in the startup community. We have with us Mr. Anupam Sarawala with us. He's a graduate from IIT Kanpur, and he is currently the visiting faculty in IIT Delhi, helping new startups, and also the member of Indian Angel Network and TRI. So over to you.
Yeah. So I don't have any slides, and I thought Alok told me I was going to be the last speaker, so he caught me by surprise. But when Devaka asked me to address you guys, basically he said I should talk about investor perspective, that what do investors look for when there are startups. And that's why when Alok told me, I said I'll be the last because other people are actually running companies or starting companies, or some of them have done successful startups. But since he got me in between, so I think I'll try to connect some things with what Devdut said and what Palash said. So really from an investor viewpoint, they pretty much look at the team. I think the team has to be kind of balanced with both business, technology, finance, and I won't say that there should be too many years of experience, but at least some relevant experience. Because startup journey, it is easy to start, it is very difficult to sustain and maintain. And since I retired from IBM after 14 years, I must have seen about 100, 150 proposals. As Alok said, I'm a member of Indian Angel Network, so I do get to see a lot of stuff. And how I came to IITD as visiting faculty, because we are setting up an incubation center which Alok is heading. So it's called iCube. So I'm basically helping them with whatever I've learned in my 30 years. The second one is most important is what the market need is or the customer need is. I think they have to talk very well about client first, because you can come up with the greatest technology. You're all great researchers and technology guys, but and by the way, I'm also a technology person. I did my undergrad from IIT Kanpur, so computer science. Then I did my master's computer science. But over 30 years, what I've learned is, yes, technology is a good enabler. It helps solve problems, but first you have to identify the problem. Otherwise, this hammer and nail, what Dev will talk about. And third, also, which Dev will cover very well, is your product market fit. Because once you understand the problem, do you have a solution to that which will solve that problem? Because if it is not solving the problem, then what's the point of building that technology? And while you are building technology, I think there has to be a unique differentiator. Because if the same technology can be replicated within like 2 months by hiring somebody, then what advantage are you going to get? And that's where, frankly, what Palash has done. I think it has a great technology, it has an entry barrier. If anybody wants to replicate it, it will take them time. And he has obviously invested a lot of quality time in this. And there I am a strong believer of one way to differentiate is filing patents, even though patents don't have much value in India, because our legal system is pretty bad. But filing a patent at least lets you be convinced that what you have done is something which has not been done earlier. And frankly, it does have an impact on your valuation also. Or anything unique, even Flipkart and Amazon are today successful because they have created an entry barrier of scale. So it doesn't have to be only technology barrier, it can be any other barrier. But you want to make sure that nobody else can copy your idea in very short time possible, because then you will lose that advantage. So product market fit, and then obviously scale up. And scaling up needs money, needs a very strong organization, and needs patience, and you have to continue expanding the team. And then you go through your angel funding and Series C, Series A, Series A. Okay, that's how you continue building companies. And I generally focus on more kind of real startups, very early stage startups, because I don't have big checks to write, but I think I have some brains over 30 years to advise companies and guide them to kind of form their go-to-market strategy, business models, pricing models, and that's what I do after my retirement, and that's basically what investor perspective is. And only thing I will also say is equity is important. You want to own the company, but 10% of a $100 million company is better than 100% of a $1 million company. But you definitely want to, as founders, control it because it is your vision and you want to realize that vision, which investors can help you realize, but I don't think you should ever give up enough control that you yourself are not motivated enough. And I think intelligent investors do understand that. So, and last but not the least, try to raise money when you don't need it. Because if you go and raise money when you need it, then you will unnecessarily be in a panic situation. So, and otherwise, Alok and Tarun, they are very integral part of iQube. If any of you do a startup, either yourself or with your friends, within IIITD or outside, feel free to contact them. We are looking for good startups, and we'll be very happy to take them to the next level. And I think we will take questions after all speakers and panelists have given their initial views, so keep your questions ready.
So this is a good idea to go for the money when you don't need it.
So moving on, we have one of the experts from the industry. He has started his own company, I think when he was doing his undergraduate and postgraduate at IIT Delhi. He is one of the MIT under 35 innovator. So I would like to welcome Amber. So Amber has devised a product which measures hemoglobin meter, hemometer. No, it's-
Hi, pleasure to be here. Speaking to young entrepreneurs. It's always a pleasure to speak to young town. Not that I've actually gotten too old, but it's always actually a pleasure to connect with a lot of fresh energy. So, a very quick brief about what have we done, where do we come from. So we are completely non-tech. When I say non-tech, we are not into the I-tech. We are into hard tech, we are the material science, the electrochemistry, the optics, the physics guys, the hard science guys. So we called RIG Nanosystems. We work in the area of bioelectronics and nanotechnology. What we're doing right now is we're developing point of care diagnostics. In simple terms, home-based diagnostics for measuring certain parameters in your blood. Okay, how does it help? So think about a factory which has a lot of pipes and boilers. I don't know how many have you even seen a factory, but that's okay. So in a factory, usually all pipes, boilers, everything have lots and lots of sensors, so that nothing actually bursts, nothing really explodes. Okay? Think about a factory which doesn't have a single sensor. Each time a pipe bursts or a pipe ruptures or a boiler blows up, you go and patch it up, you go and fix it up. That would be the stupidest factory in the world, isn't it? Right? Now think about healthcare where it is. Isn't it like that? When we get ill, we go to the doctor and get the patch done, get the patchwork done, right? We go ourselves to get ourselves fixed. There are our sensors. There are our analytical tools, or who is tracking us? Nobody, right? So this is the pain that we are solving. This is the space we are working on. These are the sensors we are developing. This is the hard science stuff which had to be kind of disrupted, and it was actually about time to do that. And with the current state of physics and electronics and material science which had come, it is actually the right time. There are a lot of companies actually working in bits and pieces here and there. We are focusing on all those parameters, all those sensors collectively, which make most sense and which are those parameters which are sensed in most of the times. Whenever you go to a doctor, these the analytes that we are sensing, the analytes for which we are developing sensors for, these are the most common sensors, these are the most common analytes which we are working on, number one. Now going forward, number two, what we are also doing is, this piece itself, the current focus, our current focus is still focused on healthcare. So when you reach to a doctor and he asks for a test, think about when you're sitting here and you're not unwell. How well are you? Do we have a scale of comparing who is more well, who's not? Now, if you look at some indicators in society, some very recent indicators, it's just been 3 years since we have been getting worried about how many calories have we burnt or how many steps have we taken, right? And there's a concept of, there's an undercurrent of need in the society for knowing more about themselves, which is also called as quantified self. How do you quantify yourself? How do you quantify your endurance, your metabolism, your fitness, your beauty? How do you say your skin quality is better than the other somebody else's? Or how do you say your rate of aging is lesser than the other or more than the other? So these are or say how do you rate stress between each other? All of this could be very accurately measured through your blood, and this is what we're working. This is all what we're working on. So far, we have only launched one device, one product in the market. It measures hemoglobin in blood. We have crossed a head count of around 110, 120 people. We have just gotten profitable in November. We're doing decent on the business front as well. I personally stay more excited on the product development side. Now, this has been a brief of the journey that we have been so far. Before I profess about anything about how to build a startup, etc., let me understand it first. Why do you guys want to build a startup? I'm assuming all of you want to build a startup, right? Is it? No. How many of you don't want to build a startup? So all of you. Okay, good. So why? What is the purpose of doing a startup?
Converting any vision to a reality.
Why?
You have some innovative product imagination you want to convert to a reality.
Why? What is in it for you? Why do you want to do it? Money? Okay, what else? What are the other motivators? So is that so doing something for the society so that society acknowledges it? Okay. All right. Purpose. What else? Sorry.
You don't want to be bossed around by somebody else. You want to develop your own.
That's a myth. That's a big myth. When you do a startup, you're not your boss. Your employees are your boss, your investors are your boss, even your watch is your boss. You are not. That's a complete myth. What else?
I think first of all it has to be the fun, right? It should be driven by, if you're having fun with it, then probably you should then marry the, reality with your fun, and if it is still profitable, you should go about doing startup. Otherwise, it will not be sustainable process.
Okay, I heard you. That's money, right? What else? Is it money? Is it money or not? Yes? Let's be really, really shameless and honest to each other, to ourselves at least. Why exactly do we want to do it? Okay? No beating around the bushes. Is it money that you're chasing? Is it fame that you're chasing? What is it that you're chasing? Money? Is that money? Okay. So let's settle the money piece right away. Because whenever I go and speak to some audiences, I hear somewhat similar answers. 94, 95% would say 92% people would say money. Rest 6 or 8 people would say fame, and some 1 or 2% would basically talk about some of the other purpose. Let's settle money for a while. How much money do you need, by the way, to get financially liberated? We all come from middle class families, so we value money just too much. In fact, the entire population does globally. Nobody's actually born a millionaire. How much money do you really need to get financially liberated? And by financial liberation, I mean when you don't really have to think about money. Remember, Hitler said all the extra money that's there in your bank when you're dead, it's all the extra fun that you would have actually had in the life, which you wouldn't. So what's the point of earning just too much? So let's talk about how much money do we really need to have the maximum amount of fun that one can possibly have with money. Sorry? 1,000? 1,000 K? 10 lakh rupees. And then per day or what? Per month? Per year? Yeah, that's really low. One should really worry about money if he's at 10 lakh per year. Huh?
You have to be talking about when you retire.
I'm talking about a number which basically gives you financial liberation. Post which you can do anything without worrying about money, not even ask for money.
50 to 60 lakhs per annum.
Sorry?
50 to 60 lakhs per annum. Maybe
50-60 lakhs per annum.
would be just about, yeah.
ठीक है. ठीक है. What else? Say, okay, let's imagine. Let's say you spend all your days in Leela. Okay. When you stay in Leela. You travel like 15 days internationally. You take like 10 international flights, which is heavily tiring, by the way. But just for the sake of saying so, business class. So 10 lakh for traveling and 20 lakh for staying. So let's say you need 20-30 lakh a month. Say 20 lakh a month. For 20 lakh a month, 25 lakh a month, all you need is 25-30 crores in your bank, which will give you that much of interest every month. Which is what? Couple of $1 million, $4-5 million, right? You build anything you do, anything you just acquire some decent position in a great growing startup who is willing to share handsome equity for your efforts. You'll make that kind of money. So who are those guys who build companies then? See, there's a quantum difference between being employed and being a founder. But the moment you are somewhat successful, you end up reaching that mark very quickly. But then what do you do? You can capitalize that as well. But then why do you think after having billions of dollars as valuation and liquid cash, etc., people like Bill Gates or all these regular names and many other entrepreneurs who made hundreds of millions of dollars, did they really start to chase hundreds of millions of dollars? They also knew financial liberation. The cost of financial liberation is just a couple of million. The value of financial liberation is a couple of $1 million. So what is it that people are chasing?
Yes.
Yes, it's the purpose of life. It's the so it's what is most important, I suppose, is you don't chase money. Money chases you. You chase your purpose, and if that purpose is productive and it is benevolent to the society itself is so massive. There are 7 billion people out there. Even if you touch them by a cent a year, you make enough by yourself, right? So you don't really have to worry about money. Very crudely said, it's like building a company for money is like marrying for having sex. You marry because you fall in love and you want to spend life, right? You can't watch the same porn like over and over and daily for 365 days a year, right? So think about, why do you want to build a company? Why do you want to build something? Why do you want to start up? Excuse me for putting it so ugly in such a vivid manner, because at times it's important to kind of shake you up. Otherwise, you'll continue listening the same. Everybody would have actually told you the same thing. And even then, by the end of the talk, you would actually go back home thinking, "Kitna banaunga main?" That's a hard fact. So, just bear in mind, have a purpose in life. There is something called ikigai. It's a Japanese concept. This word doesn't even have a word in English. Forget Hindi. Hindi में नहीं है. Hindi is actually greater. So ikigai, basically, ikigai is actually an intersection of what you love doing, what you're passionate about, what people want, and what people are willing to pay for. That's called ikigai. It's a lovely concept, but it will make, once you find your ikigai, it will screw your life. Because you get so passionate about it that you will continue doing it and kill yourself. So then you have to moderate kind of in terms of your life, work-life balance. That's a different topic altogether. There's Shishi Ravishankar out there to help you with that phase. But first of all, most importantly, you have to find your ikigai. And once you do that, if it is productive enough, it'll end up making making money for you. And most importantly, you'll have a hell of a story to tell when you'll be 80. ये होता था, ऐसे होता था, and I did this, and things changed like this. So that is all what I've learned so far, and I hope I've kind of shared my 2 cents on what this piece. Thank you. Yeah. Any questions?
So I may not agree with the philosophical answer that you said, like purpose of life. I think this is a completely vague statement. The reason being that I always believe that say for instance, take an example of a person who establishes his startups. New startup, they sell the startup, again establish another startup, sell the startup. What's the purpose of the guy?
It's not very easy to find.
Startup and then sell it.
So yeah, it's not very easy to find the purpose of life. First of all,
It's a very vague statement, as I'm saying.
it's not a vague statement. What I am sharing is you can still make money by doing multiple startups. If your focus is if your only focus is isn't making money, you can get into a company or do multiple startups and make some bit of money one by after the other and actually be satisfied with that. But what I've learned is your true satisfaction is not just by accumulating some wealth. Your true celebration or your true nirvana actually comes. They keep saying in books the fun is in the journey, not in the destination. And when you put a guinea bag on the destination and attach happiness to that guinea bag of dollars, then you don't have fun in the pathway. So all I'm saying is, if you have that purpose, if you have a purposeful living, and it's not a vague statement by the way, finding purpose of life is difficult. It requires very deep introspection. But once you do that, it becomes very easy to actually just proceed. It can evolve. It can evolve, but it doesn't evolve it doesn't evolve that rapidly also. So that evolution depends upon your own evolution. How much are you getting exposed? But yeah, in my little journey, I've seen the purpose or the meaning or life stays as is for 2 to 3 years at least, which is good enough to basically head towards a productive direction. Yeah. Sorry? 2008. I worked for 3-4 years, and then started my company. Started in 2012. I always wanted to, but I never had money to actually start. So bioelectronics, nano technology requires a lot of investments and stuff. So I started. It takes a little bit of longer gestational time, gestational period, and capital investment to start. So for a couple of years, I was working with different types of industries, also for my living, and also for kind of accumulating that little bit of investments here from here and there. Once that was there, then I took the complete.
What's your purpose of life now?
So my purpose, so that's a very interesting question. My purpose of life is to basically increase people's quality and quantity of life. I want to do that through the biosensors, through the sensors that we can create, so that people are able to predict, analyze, collect data and predict any undue eventuality.
And what's the stopping that, like how long it's going to sustain?
As in,
Like the purpose that currently you have, so what's the exact plan? I'm just trying to understand.
what's the word?
Say for instance, if you fulfill all your purpose in 5 years, then what's
No, it's I cannot foresee the purpose to get to be getting fulfilled per se ever so right now, because it's a continuous journey. The more sensors we create, the more people will get aware. We'll find a lot more people, a lot more issues, lot more information to be compiled. There'll be cross demand from the society for more sensors, for more knowledge. So I see this journey going for at least a decade, and people demanding for more and more. It's like Google. So the Google founders wanted to democratize information. They started a search engine. People wanted more. They even went to libraries to scan all the books, etc. And now they're doing much more. Their purpose is the same. Louis Vuitton's purpose was to make people look beautiful. They're still doing the same. It's not that they're selling expensive handbags, but it's like they define what is medium, what is small, what is Excel, and based on that, then people try to kind of trim themselves down. So every industry, every thought leader, or every purposeful company has tried to do their bit in their own ways, from their own capabilities, what they've had. Any other questions, please?
You did a great innovation, but then how were you able to find the market, the target customer? Were you focusing on India or like whole world?
These questions I think we will take and once the panel is ready. Because all the panelists will be able to add more.
I think I'll quickly answer that and conclude. So, when we started, I wouldn't say we had the perfect business plan or say the perfect market research. What we had perfect was passion and passion to move into this direction. I wouldn't say the purpose was also that articulated back then. It was there in the gut, it was there in the feel. I understood bioelectronics, I understood biosensors. This is what I had actually done masters and projects and lots of experiences onto. So that time we did a very rudimentary market research, whatever it may be called. And then we found that there's a great demand, there's a great need for a hemoglobin meter point of care home use diagnostic tool. And hence we started. Much later we found that there were many other analytes which had much bigger need, etc., which is what we are chasing now. I think, again, the question or the answer boils down to this same point, that I don't think, after having read through many other stories also of Sony or HP or Samsung or Philips or majority of Siemens or GE, these guys were just passionate about building stuff. They knew their love of life. They had somewhat articulated or not vaguely articulated purpose in the beginning, and which got finer and accurate en route. But they had that passion with which they started, and then they built what they built with that passion. Even Intel, for that matter. So that is how we started, and that is how we kind of finding a track, finding a path. Make sense?
Thanks, Amber. So with this, we'll move to our next speaker. He is the co-founder and chief operating officer of Circle of Life Healthcare Limited. He is an ex-army officer. Dinesh, please come on. Dinesh is a graduate from Military Engineering College, Pune, and then he did his postgraduate from IIM Ahmedabad. He is heading all the operational team of healthcare.
Can you hear? Yeah, now you can hear me. So, Alok, is there someone after me as well? To be speaking? Is there someone else after me as well?
No.
Okay, so it's kind of always tough to be the last guy because
We have another set of activities.
yeah. But everybody has covered most of it, Parag and Palash has covered his journey, Amber quite eloquently put it, and so has Anupam. So I'll try and put together all this, and this is not by design, it just so happens, it comes together very well. And I'll start with Amber, what he was touching, and which is what I also would like to bring out. And it's something which echoes with all startup founders and in the startup fraternity as well, which is the myths about entrepreneurship. Most people believe getting into entrepreneurship, maybe looking for some easy money, very easy to chase fame, glamorous life, which is what Amber was talking about as well. But these are the myths. Okay, once you get into it, you realize these don't exist. This is not what it is. So each one of us here looks at Jeff Bezos, he looks at Mark Zuckerberg, looks at Bill Gates, and feels that this is what it is. It's easy money, easy fame, and it's a glamorous life. That's not entrepreneurship. What it is about perseverance. Because you will have to persevere every day against all odds. And it's not something that will come once in a way, it will be there every day. Every day you will go back knowing that there is a lot to be done. The world, there's so much to be achieved, and you will have to find that strength in you to go back next morning to chase it and get beaten again. And then all the perseverance will only come if you are following your passion. So if passion is not there, you will not find that last ounce of inspiration to take you next day morning back to the office or wherever you are working from to start pursuing your dream again. And then the third key ingredient that is required is courage. And why do we need courage is because we will fail. That is one thing which is certain, that when you do it first time, you will not get it right. You may be lucky, once you may be lucky, you will get it right, but it will not happen more than once, twice or thrice. So you will need courage to face failures and yet rebound yourself every day, or maybe occasionally it's going to come and life is going to come and challenge you. And then you're going to be looking at your contemporaries and friends who are sharing seats with you, who are living the life, so-called, living the life out in the corporate world. And then you're going to ask yourself, am I doing the right stuff? I don't know. I'm sure, Amber, you've gone through it. Palash, you've seen it. So that's how entrepreneurship is. And here's the point which Amber touched upon, and which is what I also would like you to believe. And this from experiences, entrepreneurship is about your own self, inner self. It's about finding, like he said, the purpose. It's about you. And that's a fact. If you want to discover who you are and who you could be, or who you are within, then you need to do this. You need to embark on this journey for your own self and not for anything else. And here also, something that Amber mentioned, and I'll also re-articulate the frame. There's a very famous framework to work upon. So that framework is called a regret minimization framework. So when you are 80 and you are possibly in the fag end of your life, it is not the bonus of a year which you are going to regret. It is not that, maybe I wanted to drink a cup of cold coffee in Starbucks and I couldn't at that day. That's not the thing that you're going to regret. You are going to regret what you didn't do or what you could have made your life. So let's work on that regret minimization framework and figure out that entrepreneurship is, if you're doing it for your own self. And if you still believe that you want to be an entrepreneur, then there are actually, I have distilled my experience into 3 things that are required. Is that you need to identify the right problem that you want to solve. And why is this step important is because you are going to be spending 10, 15 years or possibly your entire life solving that problem. So it pretty well be good enough to be solved. You don't want to be solving something which is so trivial that even though you have spent 10 years of your life, you have not impacted or touched anybody else's life. So identify the right problem that deserves your 10 years of your life, or 15 years, or maybe your entire life. So identify that problem. Next is surround yourself with the right team, which is what Anupam was mentioning about, is when they look at people, when they look at startup, surround yourself with the right people who are passionate, who can match you, because there will be times when you will be down and you will be looking back for support, and there will be vice versa. So surround yourself with the right people and bring in a balanced team. Very often what will happen is right out of college you would want to work with your closest friend. And while friendship is good, but you need to bring complementary skills into the team. So just don't go by the fact that I like this person, always see that whether we are bringing a complementary skill set or not. And the last part, which is ingredient for success, is you need working capital. So you need to find the right people to back you at the right time. And like what was told previously, you need to get the capital when you don't need it. So that when you need it, you're not digging that well at that point in time. Now, I am, like Alok said, I am working, I co-founded this Circle of Life Healthcare Private Limited. And the slide has got a little messed up because I assumed there would be a PowerPoint and it's a keynote or whatever. So Circle of Life, a small introduction about us, is Circle of Life is a data analytics firm. We are creating research-backed digital solutions to improve operational efficiencies for healthcare providers. So we are essentially what we are working on, and that's the place I would like you to focus on, is that we are doing data analytics and we are trying to integrate research into it. Now, why is this important? What has happened is, somewhere in our journey, we have realized that the low-hanging fruits, which are the lift and shift models. So there are a lot of lift and shift models that have already happened in the Indian market, so to say. And when I say lift and shift, is like typically Flipkart is a lift and shift of Amazon. And I'm not trivializing it, but what I'm saying is the lift and shift models have already happened. So if you today want to get into the startup field and you want to impact life, you will have to come up with the next level, which requires you to start looking at research very, very minutely. And if you want to, and which you should, and which we are, and if you want to build global products, then it has to be emanating from research. So that's what I want you to focus on, that, since this slide is messed up, I'll quickly move ahead. So this is our philosophy that we have adopted in the firm, which is we are trying to marry business, design and technology and research around it. So research is the underlying factor, but we are trying to marry business, design and technology in that order, by the way. Like Devdas has mentioned, it has to be in the order. You cannot mess up the order. So it's not that the technology will come first and then the business and the design. So it's the business, and research at the business level is extremely integral. I can't overemphasize of the fact about why it's integral or important, because you need to identify the right problem at the right time for the right customer, who is going to pay you the right amount of money to get it solved. All the four parameters are extremely important, and that will come from the business side. Then you need to be able to design solutions to solve those problems. And finally comes the technology piece, which is technology is an enabler. It needs to enable the solutions which are created, the right solutions which come about. Typically, since it's an engineering college, you would tend to get led by technology. But always remember, the customer, the business comes first, because that's where the money will come from, and then work it around. that's my experience. I mean, there'll be some firms which would be different, but not us. And using this, we've fundamentally created two sets of product today. What we are trying to do is for the healthcare space, which is hospitals, we are trying to help them increase their operational efficiency. So our firm started with a very fundamental research question, which is everybody in India is talking about shortage of healthcare resources. When you go to AIIMS, there is the infamous 1.5, 2-year, 3-year wait period before you can get operated. Everybody is talking about shortages. But we asked a very more fundamental question that are we efficiently utilizing the resources which are already available? That was the research question that we started with. And from there, when we started investigating, we found that there are a lot of inefficiencies, and we've kind of built right now 2 products in this space. And both these products are actually aimed to eliminate, or it cannot be eliminated, reduce inefficiencies within a healthcare system so that the general public's, the cost of healthcare comes down for the general public as a whole. And in this space, we have collaborated with All India Institute of Medical Sciences, for whom we are providing this solution. We are working with Max Healthcare, which is among the biggest healthcare providers in India. We are working with Indian Statistical Institute, IIIT Delhi, and Brookings, which is again a think tank, policy think tank, which exists in US as well as in India. So those are the people we are collaborating with. And in the journey of entrepreneurship, you have to also find the right collaborators at the right time. So in the initial space, when you are starting your journey, you will have this challenge of how do I get my customers and who should be my customers as well. So at that point, you will have to get the right people you want to work with, who understand your vision and who are willing to be a fellow traveler on your journey. So that's about us. In the end, I wanted to leave you with a framework that we are using within our circle of life for our journey and our product that we create. And it is very, 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 what should I say, intuitive. And also it works, what Devdutt has touched upon as well, that you start with identifying the right problem. And when the problem identification happens, we are talking about the customer as well. So you start with the customer, then you get down to research. Now this research can be secondary research, in which case you go down, find what all is there, what all exists, what all has been done. You go on to the field. Now this is a very important thing, that whatever you do, everything you have to go down to the ground level to understand the actual pain points of the customer. So if anybody thinks over here that he's going to be sitting in a room and doing secondary research and he's going to build a company which is going to be successful, sorry, that's not going to happen. You have to go down to the field, get your hands dirty, and then only you will be able to come up with something which is possibly or probably will solve the problem. So you go down to the field, and if you find when you are down at the trenches, so to say, if you find that what you had previously thought of doesn't work, then you need to go back to the drawing board and keep doing this till you don't get a success on the on-field study. Now this is a fact that the next step is a publishing research, which is very, very, what should I say, unique to us. We take it that we try to give back to the society, so whatever we do, we are sending it out to the journals of medical, JAMA, so that it gets published and the body of knowledge increases. But you should be able to do it at your own level through LinkedIn or blogs or Medium, whatever you find suitable. Put it out there, invite critiques, and you will get there. For example, when Palash said that he had put it up on YouTube and he got some X number of hits and people wanted to see it, it's a way of reaching out to the market and telling them that, hey, this is what we are doing. And there are enough people out there who will give you a feedback. So make sure you collect feedback, not just physically, but also through these mediums which exist. then you ideate and prototype. And in that ideation phase, then you can take it from here, what Devdutt touched upon. Go and do your testing and then deliver. That's all. It's pretty simple actually. There's nothing, no rocket science to this, I think. That's how it needs to be done. And last but not the least, you will get feedbacks, keep improving, and it's a continuous process. So it never ends. It's like what Toyota principle Kaizen, it's a continuous improvement process. That's it. So I think as a startup, if any of you wants to get into it, there's no rocket science. This is what it is. Now, only thing that defines a successful startup from a failed startup, and by the way, I don't know if you know the numbers. Anybody take a wild guess that in India, what is the success rate of a startup?
0.0.
I mean, you are very pessimistic. It's not that bad.
1%. 1%.
So it's actually 97% failure, 3% success, so to say, by Harish Chawla. And but he subdivides this 3%. 1% is those who just merely exist. So startups who have not shut down. So that's 1%. Now whether you call it a success or not I leave it up to the founders who had started it. So 1% is that. 1% is startups which get somehow acquired, whether it is acqui-hire or otherwise. And 1% is the startup which actually so-called become successful. You hear about them, and possibly some of them may IPO as well. So that hasn't happened, but except for Infibeam, which seems to be there. But that's the ratio. So you have like how many of you read or have seen Lord of the Rings? I'm sure all of you would have, I hope. So it's like what Gimli the dwarf says. Almost certainty of death, very low chance of success. What are we waiting for? So that's what startup is all about. So if you are ready to fail and yet find that courage in you, then I would strongly urge you that at least once in a life, take this leap of faith, believe in yourself and do it. Just do it. That's it. As far as the question, I think now it's the panel, so we can all take it together.
Yeah. So I'll request all the speakers to come. We'll have a short kind of very modernized way of panel, or I would say QA kind of session where we are running short at a time. So let first so, yeah, audience can interact, but first I have the question. And that goes to Dinesh. So you have spent around 18 years in army. So how this journey is helping you at this stage? Because after 12, I think you have done your BTech in military college.
Yeah.
And then spent
So you want to know how army experience is helping in startup?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. So what is army experience? So army teaches you about facing uncertainties. There is a certain, what we call in the army, the fog of war. So when the operations are on, you don't know what exactly is happening in the field. So there is uncertainty. Then there is extreme dependence on discipline and training. And that comes through discipline that comes through rigorous training. And then there is so all this translates into corporate as a operation side of work. So I think how I am leveraging my army experience in the startup world is, startup is also defined by uncertainties. You are not sure how many days you will survive, if at all, at the end of it. So whenever my friends actually ask me, how is it going, my standard reply to them is, I'm surviving. And that's an achievement, let me tell you, in a startup world. If you survive, you live to fight another day. which is very similar to what happens in the army. So you survive in a battle, you live to fight another day. So army taught me about uncertainty, which is what startup is all about. Startup is also about extreme discipline. You have to be very disciplined about your processes, your timelines, something like money is going to be running short. How are you going to optimize your resources? And all that will come through discipline.
Right, so discipline is the key takeaway on that part, which you are.
And one last thing, which is risk-taking ability. So that's another thing.
Yes.
Those three.
So my next question goes to you, Anupam. You have been investing in the young startups. So at times I feel when you said you are reviewing almost 100 plus 50 proposals from the startups. So there may be this like startups from the education institutes who are just graduated and with the new ideas, vibrant ideas, coming on board and proposing their plans and etc. What is your what you will suggest, whether a student once he graduates from the college, he should, if he has a potential idea, he has done very good market research, he should go forward with the startup, or he should gain some experience in some industry, keep working on the startup in the back end, or simply go work in industry, come back once he has some idea and proceed. Because see, passion is always there. The key driving factor is the passion. So that passion will always be in that student right from the school or maybe from the college or whatever sources. It may come at various stages of life.
So I think your question is, fresh out of college, should they start or go gain some experience and then start?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it works both ways. It all depends on the individuals. No doubt, experience teaches you something which you don't learn in your academic courses. But I think most important is getting the right team. I think what I've seen in some of the proposals I've seen, that either they are started by pure MBAs or business management perspective, they have done some technology build through outsourcing from their friends who know how to make apps, all that stuff, but they don't have a strong technology person as a co-founder. I think I've seen more proposals like that than the ones where there is a technology person who had an idea to start with, and but they don't have a good co-founder who is from the business side of it. So, but to me, ideal combination is a guy who has a business background plus understands go-to-market models, understands finance, because financial modeling is extremely important, not only to run your day-to-day company, but also when you are raising money, when you are doing your pricing, when you are doing your unit economics, which unfortunately in technical institutes they don't teach to that level of detail. I know there are some entrepreneurship courses, but they kind of give you a general perspective on it. And so a balanced team, I think, is extremely important, where both the business guys and technologies I'm using in a broader sense. It doesn't have to be necessarily IT. Like Amber mentioned, it is more physics or optics or whatever. But guy who is actually building that unique solution. I think those two co-founders are extremely critical to have equal stakes, equal commitment, equal passion, and the right chemistry.
So I would say the marriage between those two co-founders and the team. So that's really important aspect. Audience, if you have any questions, you can always raise your hand or directly ask. This question is for you, Amber. You mentioned that after your college, you spent some time in industry just to make some money, and then come back for your own startup. So, if the case would have been different, that you would have got some family money or we say rent, family and food, so you would have raised that money at a very early stage in your college. So should we have gone for the startup or this experience that we all did?
Of course, if I had the facility of some money, any money from anywhere, I would actually start a company right immediately after IIT. As a matter of fact, while I was working with different companies, one after the other, I was also constantly working on the startup idea. In a way, we had actually rented out a lab in IIT, and we had recruited somebody where the experiments had already started. I fell in love with bioelectronics right in my second year and pursued it till my fifth year. So I would say I spent a couple of years off that, of my love and passion. The other point let me add another point to it. See, years of experience of startup is very different from years of experience of any industry or any job function per se. In a company, there are two levels of expertise. One is on the corporate level, and the other is on the executional or say the functional level. When you join a job, you are on the functional level. You're either doing sales or you're doing technology or your support or HR or etc. etc. When you're a founder, you're actually the day you start. From that day, your experience of being a founder, of juggling around multiple responsibilities, multiple challenges, multiple interdependabilities start. So I honestly don't think any job background, perhaps sales to an extent, only to an extent, for a couple of years should be good enough just to basically increase your people skills. Because in later, while you are during your startup years, you will also have to acquire people skills to build a sustainable culture and have to motivate and drive people, etc. Because you will not be able to do everything on your own. Barring that, I don't think any job per se would groom you or give you any substantial advantage for doing a startup. You will again have to kind of start from scratch, learn everything fundamentally from common sense. Also, there's another point to understand. Startup by definition is a company which invents a new social behavior via products or service. Okay? Now, if you're inventing a new social behavior, a new industry altogether, however micro, however tiny it is, then you really don't have any trained professional to deal with any of its executional piece. So you have to learn it all, or say invent it all on your own. Okay. So again, and therefore,
Starting by doing.
yes.
On doing and keep on learning all these perspectives.
You learn by yourself by attacking every challenge fundamentally from first principles.
Yeah. So, I know it's not a question for me, but I'll just add. Experience and lack of it is also a function of where you're getting into, what your firm is going to be doing. And you can actually, if you look at our firm, which is basically into medical sciences. Now, I per se have no experience in medical sciences, nor did the other two of my co-founders have. However, and within us we had some 40 years of work ex. But then, like they're saying, it doesn't matter because 40 years of work ex in a field which is is in a very different field than medical sciences. At that point, what Anupam said is relevant because we then find the right people in the team to come and work with us. Those who bring that domain specific knowledge. So there is no like a cookie cutter solution for this. If you're going to get into a B2C social media kind of an app which you're living and breathing every day, you are a domain specialist in it as such. You've got maybe 7 years of experience in that. So that counts, but you may not have any work ex. So I think it's a function of what domain you're getting into and function of what domain and whether you can get the right people around you.
Functional experience.
You could say that.
So this question goes to you, Deepti. Because the kind of team you are handling and the kind of competition you are facing with the competition, you have to innovate every day. So how you manage everything, keep on getting new ideas in your organization?
Yeah, so um, has stiff competition, as you mentioned, and you need to constantly innovate. Uh, Consumer technology as a space is one where every 6 months the scene completely changes. The bet that you take needs to be like forward-looking, of course, but again, like no one is an astrologer, right? So, but I think it's a function of a few things, and you know, where how do you look for ideas and which ideas to bet on. One, you look at your team and you need to have a confidence that this idea is the right idea for your team, right? And then you also look at competition, and I think Anupam touched upon this barrier to entry, right? So why do you think, like, you may be the right team, but why do you think other players with deeper pockets or larger investments will not get to that particular idea, at least for a decent enough period, maybe a 1 year, 2 year, or even 6 month period. In that times or in that time frame, you need to get to a particular scale where you have a advantage of the first mover advantage or significant, then your scale can become that barrier to entry. Right, so you look at different ideas, and of course when you hit a certain scale like Hike has, you have different avenues from which the idea comes, both top down as well as a lot of good ideas come bottom up from the team itself. And we have different sort of systems within the company, starting from hackathons to 20% projects and so on, where these ideas can be seeded, and you get to sort of a level where you can prototype, get to an early prototype that can be testable, right, with maybe a small audience, right? You can release it in alpha, get feedback. Because so one of the frameworks, and this is related to what Dinesh was talking about, that we follow within Hike, is you start with, when you have an idea and a bunch of people are talking about it in the company, you have very low confidence in that idea, and it's important to take that very seriously. If you do some user calling, some user research, your confidence in that idea is still very low, right? Then you take it to the next level where you do an early prototype and a very limited launch. At that stage, your idea, and if it still works in that launch, and if you get very good feedback, your confidence will be at best medium, right? And only when you do a fairly scaled out launch and you collect a scaled out feedback is when you have high confidence and think about rolling out to the entire user base. Right, so challenge your ideas as much as possible, but again, don't lock yourself. Do look for good ideas, they can come from everywhere.
So that is very true. So now, Palash, as a student, once you started, you told about your I would not say failure stories, but just learning stories, when you have learned. Apart from that, what are the key issues you are facing being a student, doing these projects, and how you get into the
Okay, so first of all, I hear a lot of people saying that if you want to do a startup or something, if you want to do something on your own, GPA doesn't matter. So a lot of first year students come to me and say, I want to do a startup. So should I put all my time in my startup, or should I also study? So I would just like to say that GPA doesn't matter in a startup, but failures in